This year is a very different year for me, seeing how I've really never been much of a political person. Like, I just voted for whoever was running for the Democratic Party, and that was just it. Like, as far as listening to what they had to say or anything, I really didn't pay much attention. But this race is very, very different. Like, I'm really just paying attention to everything that's going on. Well, let me not say everything. Just about everything that's going on. Whatever I missed, I try to update myself and catch it on YouTube. And I watched a presidential debate, and it was really, really good. Barack held his own, and McCain, he was holding his own too, and he made some points and whatnot. And I was kind of like, yeah, I agree with some of his points, but ultimately, I'm going for Barack, not because he's the Democratic Party, not just because he's African American, but because I like more of his point of views than I do the McCain-Palin campaign. I had been following Palin for a while because it was just so weird to me how this lady who came out of nowhere, and like so many people have said, she's kind of like a soccer mom, and she just blew up all of a sudden to the next day you're finding out she's running for vice president. And it was just strange, and I was just trying to figure out, well, who is this lady? Like, she's from Alaska? Like, I didn't even really think Alaska knew anything that was going on over here. Like, they're on their own little space over there. I don't really believe that they are affected the way that we are when, being here in the United States. Well, on this plot of land, really. So I watched an interview, and they were asking her just some basic questions, little simple things like that. And I just saw how she just kind of skirted around the issue. She never really answered the question directly. And the same thing she did on the debate. She never answered the questions directly. She just kind of skirted around the whole topic and then went back to what she felt was so major. And I was thinking, when she had said, they had asked the question as far as a vice president, what role do you think you'll be taking as far as aiding, your principal? And she was saying that she had spoken to McCain and everything like that, and she was really big on education. And when it came to, your mentally challenged, folks. And I was thinking to myself, if that's all she's going to be handling, then anybody else could really do the job. Because I'm expecting for her to say, well, I'm going to be side by side with the president. We're going to work on topics together. We're going to, think about things together. We're going to do what we feel is best for the country. Because ultimately, the way I look at it, if all you're going to be taking care of and minding the business of is public education and those who are mentally challenged, God forbid if this man should pass away, the only thing you would have known are those two things. It's like you're not even like walking with him, you're not talking with him, you're not trying to find out what's going on, making, helping him make decisions, give him opinions and inputs and stuff. It's like she was just saying, no, those are the basic things that she's going to be taking care of. While compared to Joe Biden, he was like, well, I'm going to be side by side with Barack Obama. I'm going to go ahead and give him my input on certain things, because you have to understand, if something were to happen, like the question was, if something were to happen to either one, let's say McCain became president or Obama became a president, these two people could possibly be taking over for them. And people can say whatever they want to say. When they were talking about Matt Damon, when he said that he was absolutely just scared to think that if something were to happen to McCain, because, let's say if he became president and she would take over, truthfully, it is a scary thought, because it's just like certain things I'm just like, she really does not know. And when it comes to the whole, they were like just pushing on the fact that, oh, Obama has no experience. And I'm like, well, At least if something happens to him, Joe Biden has tons of experience and will be straight, compared to if something happens to McCain, this lady has absolutely no experience, so that we're just stuck. She has less experience than Obama does. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what was it just defeats the purpose of his whole, political game to try to tear Barack down because of no experience. And the whole thing with the way she was talking, they were saying, oh, it was folksy, it was cute, it was in layman terms. Yeah, it was cute and everything, but at the same time, maybe she was talking like that because she has absolutely no idea about what's going on. She can't speak on the level that Biden was speaking when he was saying certain things about the Senate and stuff. He was talking real regular words. Of course, it might fall short for those of us who aren't really that great in civics and all that stuff. But otherwise, you pretty much got the gist of what it was. And she was just talking in plain layman terms. But, when it comes to certain things, especially when it comes to running the country, I don't want to hear you say things in layman terms. I want to hear you speak very intellectually. So I can be like, all right, I'm comfortable that you know what you're talking about because you're using these words and that's what it stands for. And I know that you know what you're saying and that you're not just BSing me. So I was really just kind of like, it was a good debate. They weren't catty with each other. They were very polite, very nice to one another, and they just kind of made their points and everything like that. And it just kind of got very annoying to me after a while when she just kept going right back to, energy, and her wanting to dig in Alaska. And I'm thinking, when it comes to Alaska, it's a very, very beautiful place. And like they said, it's one of the last pristine places where man has not touched. It's completely untouched. It's exactly the way it was from the beginning. And for her to just be like, let's go ahead and dig it up. She can say whatever she wants, and other people can say whatever they want, that they're just going to use this small little portion. But it really doesn't matter because that small little portion, the pollutant that you're going to be putting out, I doubt that it's not going to affect the other surrounding areas. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just the domino effect. You mess up one side, and eventually, God forbid, if let's say there's something that happens and it seeps through into the ground and just goes, whatever. But I just don't believe that you can just keep everything in just one little area and for everything else outside of that area to still remain unscathed and untouched. It's going to be pretty hard for that to be, for that to be even possible. And what else was it about her? There were a couple of interviews that I saw that she just got very, very defensive about certain things. Instead of her just, just keeping a calm demeanor and just saying, well, this and that, and just ignoring the person, and just changing the subject or, doing something. But instead, she just got very, very defensive. Like when she was asking, what was it? Katie Couric? She was asking about, well, what newspaper do you read? And she was just like, well, I read them all. And she's like, well, could you, if you read all of them, I'm pretty sure you could name like one. And she was like, oh, y'all make it seem like, people in Alaska so far away, like we don't keep up to date with all this. It's like, no, all we wanted to know is, can you name one newspaper article?